I watched the first season of The Mandalorian as the episodes came out on Disney Plus weekly back in 2019. And after it concluded, all I wanted to do was to talk to somebody about what I had witnessed. I have a friend who is an avid Star Wars fan, and I asked her, "Did you watch The Mandalorian?" And she said,
"Oh my god, yes. I literally started it last week and it is like my favorite thing ever. I cannot wait for next Friday. Isn't it like so good?"
And I said, "Oh, no, I think it's a very, 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 really, like, laughably, horribly bad show." And over the course of the next few months and weeks and year, I realized that a lot of people agree with my friend. They believe the show to be excellent, entertaining, fun, nostalgic. It is filled with new and complex characters, new planets and plots and villains, and overall, they believe it to be a new beginning for the Star Wars franchise. And I could not disagree more. But I watched season 2, every single episode, as they came out earlier last year, in November 2020. It's February 2021 now. And I really tried to give this show a chance. I'm gonna talk about the parts that I did like first, but then we're gonna get into the parts that are bad, because there are a lot of parts that are bad, because this is the way. The special and visual effects of this show are solid as fuck. There's obviously a lot of money being thrown at this thing very early on, and while watching I was like, this looks really good for a TV show. I can tell that the creative team behind the visual effects worked really hard. They use this virtual LED background that sort of wraps around and behind the actors so that they're not only acting to green screen, or so that they don't have to always shoot on location. It's super cool. Good job. I think The Mandalorian's character design and the costume design is also solid as fuck. It's designed by concept artist Brian Matias and costume designer Joseph Porro. Mando is a new character, but as an audience we recognize this iconic helmet. We already know Boba Fett, we already know Jango Fett, and now we get to know Mando. I still feel like Mando is a mysterious character because the design leads to intrigue. The armor is cool, his rifle is cool, which I learned is called the Amban Phase Pulse Blaster. But it's still a fun weapon that extends well from his body. It creates this really cool silhouette, and silhouettes are important for iconic characters. I'm not shocked by this being good in the show. Like, I am relieved. Star Wars usually has really solid character design. Chapter 14, titled The Tragedy from Season 2, is a great fucking episode. If you just want to watch one episode from The Mandalorian, I highly recommend this episode. It's so different from the rest of the show to the point that I felt like I was watching a different show. The actors suddenly know how to carry a scene, the pacing is right, the fight choreo and the way it's shot is just right. It's all right and there, and I don't know what happened. Like, who was brought on? Well, on set, they were like, we're gonna make a good show. Boba Fett is there, and he's pretty fucking cool. It was an interesting take at reintroducing a classic character in a way that didn't feel like they were pandering too heavily to fans. That was really nice. People are gonna fucking come for me because I can't say her name. Ahsoka Tano. She's cool. The fog on this planet makes the lightsaber look cool, and the way she turns her lightsaber on and off to be extra stealthy is also cool. I've never seen that done in any other Jedi lightsaber choreo before, so it felt new and it worked well. those are all the good things about The Mandalorian. Every episode of The Mandalorian is almost exactly the same. Every single episode, almost all of them, are the same. Watching it makes me feel like I don't actually know anything about story structure or narrative or the hero's journey or whatever is supposed to happen in episodic television series. I don't know if all of television has always been like this, and The Mandalorian is just now making me aware of the apparent repeatability vortex that is episodic structure. But almost I swear to God, what I'm really asking is, why is every day the same? Does it have to be this way? That's all I'm asking. I'm gonna give you a rundown of an average episode of The Mandalorian to demonstrate my point. I know that you can look at any episodic television series from the past decade and recognize structure. Oh, the protagonist encounters a problem, and then they go here, and then their morals or limits are challenged, and then sometimes there is the bad guy and somewhat of a resolve occurs, and then there is a lesson to carry, and the end. See you next week. Like, I recognize that television needs this structure to gain an audience following so that people can follow the story. I understand that that is to an extent necessary, but I really truly believe that there's like something deeply wrong with The Mandalorian that like makes this structure not work. So here we go. Mando is in his ship flying through space. They land on a new planet, and it's the planet they needed to go to. Mando finds someone to fix the ship because it is always falling apart, and sometimes he needs someone to look after the kid, otherwise known as Baby Yoda, otherwise known as Grogu. And usually there's a woman, and usually the woman is dollar store Sigourney Weaver, and then something bad happens. The bad guy needs something, or there's a new character I don't care about who's introduced, and they're usually white and annoying, and then there's a larger threat, and they spend the episode prepping to destroy said threat and solve the problem, and teamwork and training montage time. And Mando is good at everything. He can shoot and fly and deflect and punch, and he's just the goddamn best. And then there's the part where everyone is like, good job, this is the way. And there are no stakes, and Mando doesn't learn anything, and then it's time to go because new information about Baby Yoda is revealed, and they've got to go to a different planet, so bye-bye. Roll credits. I get to listen to that awesome fucking song again. It's not a very good song. Everyone acts like it's good, and again, I am like so left astray. And when the episode doesn't follow this structure, it either ends in cliffhangers or actual bad things happen to the characters that they kind of grapple with. And even then, the stakes don't feel real. The stakes are not there. Where are the stakes?
This is a Bacta spray. It will heal you in a matter of hours.
I feel no appropriate amount of fear or anger with Mando. I feel no fear or anger with the other characters because I never believe that any of them are in actual harm's way. And this is bad because you need to be able to feel with at least your protagonist so that you can like follow the story. And every time something minorly or majorly inconvenient happens, it is immediately resolved and remedied. They're all cheap threats that function to scare the audience or try to make us feel like, oh no, I wonder if they'll get out of this one this time. And I'm gonna compare it to the original trilogy here, and I'm only gonna do it once, I promise. But I feel fear with Luke and Leia and Han in this scene. And I recognize that the scene has the same intent to make us, the audience, fear for them. You know, like, oh no, I wonder if they'll get out of this one this time. But even though I've seen this movie countless of times. The scene still holds up and works for me because I feel for these characters and what they've been through thus far. In The Mandalorian, I feel like they're not allowing the characters to fully acknowledge or experience any form of fear. Where are the stakes? There's no time or tension. They just pull fast ones on us and everything is resolved so quickly. No, baby, are they gonna get Baby Yoda? Baby Yoda, they can't
Where's
take
Baby Yoda gonna go?
I'm so afraid that Baby Yoda is in actual harm's way. They kidnapped Baby Yoda. They can't do that. Where's Baby? I hope they get Baby Yoda back. Fuck. Don't worry. Within 5 to 10 minutes, anything potentially horrible or permanent that could happen to Baby Yoda is resolved. And we are repeatedly baited. But guess what? I'm not biting. I don't want to bite. I don't want to take the bait. I'm not stupid, John Favreau. I don't want to be fucking fooled. Do you take me for a fool, John? Speaking of Baby Yoda. If Baby Yoda was replaced by a chia pet, and it's an ugly chia pet, it's not a cute chia pet, and Mando still treats chia pet Baby Yoda the same as he treats Baby Yoda, he's still his dad figure, and the chia pet still has cute little baby habits. Aw, cute, he took the ball off the lever again. How cute is that? And the chia pet makes little baby noises and runs around really cute, and he does all the things that Baby Yoda does, but it's a chia pet. I promise you that nobody would give a shit about this show. Nobody would care what Mando got up to if it weren't for Baby Yoda. The whole show revolves around this cute ass kid. That fucking Baby Yoda design is really good because they knew that if they had a plot that would revolve around one, make it cute. Make him a baby. So Baby Yoda can do whatever the hell he wants. He can try to murder that lizard frog salamander woman's babies, and all of us watching are just like, how cute is Baby fucking Yoda eating those froggy eggs? That's so cute. Mando is still our main protagonist. Yes. And we do follow him, but the plot largely serves as a Baby Yoda babysitting telltale / an ongoing protection and rescue mission for Baby Yoda, which is okay on its own. If Baby Yoda was an ugly ass chia pet, nobody would care. All Baby Yoda has to do to get you to watch The Mandalorian is exist. Because the show isn't called The Baby Yoda Show, it's called The Mandalorian, and we're supposed to be following Mando. And if Mando is just constantly preoccupied by Baby Yoda, I think this is telling of bad writing. I don't fucking care about Mando. And that's not good. I don't care about all these other people. I care about Baby Yoda. He emotes more than anyone on the show, and he's a fucking puppet. Baby Yoda is a puppet, did you know that? Baby Yoda isn't even a real person. You know what is real? The pain I felt so deeply in my soul when Baby Yoda in chapter 12, The Siege, he stole some cookies from this boy. He's at school right now. They dropped him off at school. And I'm watching the episode and I'm like, what is that? What are those cookies? Are those blue macarons? Baby Yoda is eating fucking blue macarons. Who authorized this? Upon further research, and by that I mean I googled what episode does Baby Yoda eat the blue macarons, and apparently our good friend Jon Favreau just has a passion for food. That's what it says. He's just such a foodie. That's not a good enough reason for me. I don't see how that justifies Baby Yoda eating a very specific French dessert. Why is this in the Star Wars universe. Just make it blue and wrapped in astronaut food packaging and nobody will notice.
He wanted it to be blue because it was like blue milk.
I think Jon Favreau thinks that I'm a fool. I think he thinks I'm really fucking foolish. Am I supposed to just accept the blue sorry. They're called Navarro nummies. Just a part of the Star Wars universe now. What the fuck is happening? Also, why is everything blue? Blue milk thing happened once, and now every fucking liquid that anyone in this goddamn show drinks, it's blue. I'm just supposed to be a good fan and go like, oh yes, it's space juice. That makes sense because Mando is in space, right? I fucking forgot. Remember the blue milk that Luke drank? He didn't even drink it. No, Luke was in the presence of blue milk. Remember that? I could have sworn that people in Star Wars like eat and drink things that, dare I say, are not blue. Like, why was this a choice?
Because it was like blue milk.
It's a very weird choice, John. Also, since we're talking about the cookies, and we're still talking about Baby Yoda, because he does steal them. He asks first, he goes, oh my god, Baby Yoda, he's so cute. And the kid goes, fuck you. So Baby Yoda steals the Navarro nummies. People have defended Baby Yoda, but Baby Yoda is an asshole. And that's not even my opinion anymore. That's just a fact of the show. And Baby Yoda has had many an opportunity to prove to us that he's not an asshole, but he's an asshole. He tries to murder the lizard frog salamander woman's tadpole baby eggs, and he doesn't give a shit. And it's played for laughs, which is very odd because he's killing her babies. And then he force chokes Cara Dune because she's winning an arm wrestling match against Mando. And Baby Yoda thought that his dad was in danger because of an arm wrestling match. He also vomits up the macaroons, which is disgusting behavior. And again, if he were a Chia Pet, nobody would be accepting this monstrosity. No one. So Baby Yoda gets to do whatever the fuck he wants because he's cute. I also refuse to call him Grogu because when they did name drop him in that episode, like, his name is Grogu. We had to pause the episode to take a breather, and I laughed a lot. I laughed so much so that I would not cry. Also, side note, so as I was writing this script and doing some research and looking for photos of ugly Chia Pets, I came across this, which I can't even begin to express how infuriating this is, because it's Baby Yoda quite literally replaced by a Chia Pet. And I made the Chia Pet joke, hand to God, before I knew this existed. So now what the fuck am I even supposed to do now? Like, does the Chia Pet analogy even work anymore? Like, I'm still keeping it, but I thought it was worth noting that Baby Yoda Chia Pets exist, and I hate that, but also, you're welcome. So in chapter 1 of season 1, Mando lands on planet with Baby Yoda, and he runs into this guy who tells him that before he can traverse the perilous terrain of the planet, he must first learn the ways of the Blurred. Because it would be impossible for Mando to travel across this planet without a Blurg. He wouldn't even get from point A to point B without a Blurg. Like can you even begin to imagine how impossible it? Look at all these cracks. Look at the cracks, Mando. I can't even begin to express that trench, Mando, without a Blurg. Look at those. How could you get without a Blurg? You cracks without idiot. You're so silly. You're so so silly for thinking that you could trenches when you were
Mando, you need a blurg. I don't understand.
air pressure's a thing in space. There's a trench. That's what he said. I don't know. You must train this blurg, and if you do well, it will take you where you need to go. And then there's a short scene of Mando learning the ways of the blurg, but at first he's having a hard time. And then with some nostalgic advice from the guy, because apparently Mandalorians used to ride the mythical mythosaur, so this means that it's the same thing as riding a blurg, of course. So Mando decides to approach the blurg like calmly, like, you know, like how you'd approach an animal. He mounts the blurg. He and then he learns the ways of the blurg, and then he rides the blurg from point A to point B. He gets past those cracks, and then that's it. He is later shown on the same planet traversing the apparent, you know, perilous and impossible terrain without the blurg, and then he flies away and he never needs the blurg again. So the terrain is only perilous always, except when it's not. And you only need a blurg, but you don't. Right. That's cool. Very cool directing, Dave. Very, very cool writing, John. So, as you've probably been able to tell so far, this is a very, very serious video. And I promise you, we are just getting started. Truly, because there are some very weird things going on with our friend, the Mandalorian, on the planet of Sorgon. In Season 1, Chapter 4, titled The Sanctuary, Mando seems to have tasked himself with finding a safe place for Baby Yoda to stay, especially because Mando seems to attract danger as a bounty hunter, and he has not yet fully comprehended Baby Yoda as a part of the problem. He lands on Sorgon, and we get some shots of Mando's ship flying over the lush, forested planet, shots that, I'll argue, actively fetishize the uncharted and uncolonized land. Mando meets Cara Dune, more on her later, and then encounters the people of Sorgon, who beg and pay Mando to help them. They are peaceful blue krill farmers who have recently been attacked by malicious raiders who conveniently look like dog aliens so as to avoid Columbus imagery. After some debate, Mando and Cara Dune agree to help the farmers defend their land. We get a training montage, a scary big boy, and then there's a triumphant defeat of the alien dog invaders. Nobody in the Sorgon tribe is killed. Everybody is happy. Colonialism is dead and defeated. The Star Wars universe follows a couple of particular trends, and one of them being white people in space.
Star Wars starts out saying it's on some other galaxy, and then you see there's people and a whole bunch of other things. They're all white. It's, oddly enough, is sort of like this. Not even the other colors represented on the Earth, much less greens and blues and purples and oranges.
In Star Wars with a lot of strange characters.
Yeah, but none of them seem to be in charge of the galaxy. Everybody in charge of the galaxy seem to look like us.
More specifically, white men doing manly things in space and being rude, because being rude is badass, didn't you know? And what these white men get up to includes, but is not limited to, being impatient, ignorant, and sometimes violent towards the other beings or humans they encounter on other planets, who happen to speak different dialects and have different cultural practices. In The Mandalorian, Mando is seen extending kindness to other beings who don't communicate in English. He's shown speaking other languages and becoming adaptive to communicate beyond verbalization. And sometimes he's like rude as fuck. He's impatient and unkind, and this makes him like an inconsistent character when it comes to this part of him. He's usually very rude every time he needs somebody to fix his ship, which is always, especially if they don't speak English. He is sarcastic, threatening and irritated by some of the beings he encounters due to their differences. Of course, there are moments throughout the rest of Star Wars where characters do speak multiple languages and they are able to communicate no problem with others with no signs of rudeness or judgment. It's actually really cool to see, and it would be my hope that a space-traveling society dependent on interplanetary relations would function this way. I could also argue that it is valuable for characters in Star Wars to disagree, become impatient or rude, and to have confusions over communication. Sci-fi as a genre has the powerful ability to tell complex stories about human relations and colonization where ignorance is not naturalized for the sake of what we seem to consider good plot, high stakes, a cool guy with no time for bullshit, or guy with gun shoot guy with spear. This happens in Star Wars a lot, and I think we need to become more critical of what these stories and what this imagery is trying to tell us. Now, I do want to make a distinction here. I am not directly comparing the alien races in the Star Wars universe to actual human indigenous people here in our real world. If anything, white settlers are the closest thing to an alien invasion that the Earth will ever face. But I will say that the people of Sorgon are presented as human. There are no prosthetics that suggest otherwise, meaning the tropes that are played out onto indigenous people in our world are tropes that are played out here in the same way onto the people of Sorgon. Their costume design echoes indigenous tropes and stereotypes we already see in the media constantly. And I get it. You peppered in a redhead, which was like very jarring upon the second rewatch. There's this very blonde kid, so as to avoid criticism. Like, look, they aren't actual tropes of indigeneity. There's white people here on Sorgon too. Although it is directly addressed that the Sorgon people have lived on their planet for generations, for some reason, they are helpless to this recent raid, which is another common trope in the colonial hijacking of history. This idea that people are helpless for the sake of your benefit, your as in the colonizer or the white savior, or in this case, for the sake of the plot. The people of Sorgon have no idea how to wield basic weapons like spears or blasters, and they need help from their colonial visitors, or else they will be killed or pushed from their lands. The woman named Omera is the only person in her tribe who states that she has experience shooting a gun and demonstrates this skill, but it is never explained why or how. It's just so that she can have something in common with Mando. She is also conveniently widowed, an incredible mom, and ready to get that colonial dick minutes after meeting Mando. Like, am I just supposed to believe that just because they are peaceful krill farmers that they have never had a need to train and build up any defense skills? Ever. They've never. And if this is the first time they've ever been raided, then I'm glad that Mando just so happened to show up right on time. Also, this trope that indigenous land serves as some sort of sanctuary, like a peaceful, perfect utopia for settlers to drag their heels over without permission, it's a tired trope. Oh, they're simple farmers and they could do no harm and they have zero desires past farming krill. Like, that is demeaning. That is infantilizing. It's a sick simplification of what could be, in reality, a very multifaceted and complex people. We don't need to lean so heavily on these harmful tropes just so that a potentially racist audience can immediately visually identify Omera as Disney's Pocahontas, and they know everything they need to know about her within 5 minutes of her introduction. Also, Cara Dune is first introduced in this episode, and I think that's purposeful because Omera is in this episode. This introduction functions as a way for both women to be in comparison with one another. Cara Dune is tough, cold, sarcastic, strong. She's just a badass female character who seems to have not much interest in Mando, at least not romantically. Cara Dune is also a physical equal to Mando. In their first rougher encounter with each other, they both demonstrate an aptitude for physical defense together. We get this shot in which they mirror one another, pulling their blasters on each other at the exact same moment, and there's this sort of silent oath of respect that occurs. So now, who the fuck is Mando gonna fuck? Who can Mando possibly settle down with? He can't be romantically involved with someone who is his physical equal. That can't happen. Who can the Mandalorian want to settle down with? He can settle down with Omera. She quickly recovers from grief. She can take care of children. She stands in her house a lot. She's wearing an apron. She's quite soft-spoken. She's the exotic dream. But Mando does not want to fuck her. He does not want to settle down with Omera. Mando has respect for Omera. He has honor to uphold, and he cannot possibly transform Sorgon into a dangerous target for potential Empire attacks. Mando respects women, and you should too. Like, who knows? Maybe if you hired some indigenous writers, we could have gotten a cool episode, or at least an episode that feels more well-informed and isn't based in tiring tropes. Or maybe Jon Favreau just knows everything there is to know about being an indigenous widow. Maybe that's just another one of his many, many skills. These are the other things that happen in The Mandalorian, and they don't make any sense, and I don't really have time to talk about them all. The R2 unit with arms and legs from Chapter 8, the Season 1 finale, is disgusting. He's disgusting. People on Reddit call him the lava fairy droid, and I don't know if that makes me feel better or worse. Dollar Store Sigourney Weaver.
Carbon scoring building up top. How much do you want for it? Kidding, but not really.
That's it. I don't care about the lore. And I thought that a green or a blue lightsaber meant like Jedi, good guy. And that the red lightsaber meant bad guy, Sith, right? And colors are symbolic. And purple symbolizes royalty and sex and Samuel L. Jackson. So my question is, what is the dark saber, and why? I know I'm supposed to care about it because the music gets a little louder when it comes on screen, but I don't care about it. It's the key to Mandalore, but I thought keys looked like this, and the dark saber doesn't look like this, it looks like this. So I am understandably very confused. Is it more evil because it's the dark saber instead of the lightsaber? And the Sith's lightsabers are still called lightsabers, though they are evil. I don't care. The TIE fighters that fold up. John. So Cara Dune, whose full name is Cara Cynthia. Very cool name. She has a small face tattoo right under her eye, and it's a miniature Rebel Alliance sigil. And I think that's fucking stupid. I also think it's really funny. I guess I should be too pissed off about this one because we don't have to look at her anymore. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about it because that's not for this video. The fight choreo and the way it is filmed is very, very bad. And I can tell that you're covering the fact that these are either not well rehearsed by the time you film the episode, or that they're just bad to begin with, because you're hiding them with all of these damn cuts. My brain can't fill in the blanks fast enough. I'm getting quick, flailing choreo, cut, no reaction time. I don't know how the characters are feeling, and wet meat punch sounds. Except in chapter 14, because the fight choreo is significantly better, to the point that I noticed it. The camera moves with Boba Fett, who takes up a large amount of space. He takes time in his follow-through of delivering these heavy, brutal blows, and the scene lets you take it in because Boba Fett's strength is integral to the stakes of the episode. This is important because Boba Fett could beat Mando in a fight. making him a true threat to the entire course of Mando's quest. This is why good fight choreo is important. The way Mando stabs the soup octopus, what the fuck? This woman's eyebrows, and you know who I'm talking about. I don't even have time to get into her thing, and her thing is that she can't act.
The dark saber. Does he have it?
Pedro Pascal is the only non-white lead in a Star Wars project. I don't know about the video games, so if there is a non-white lead in the video games, I am excluding that because it is different from media forms like film and television. And Pedro Pascal wears a mask almost the entire runtime. What is going on, Disney? Why do you hate putting people of color on screen for like longer than 45 minutes? Well, he happens to be a Mandalorian, so he wears a helmet all the time, and she happens to get herself turned into a frog, but she is Disney's first black Disney princess, and they're all lions, and he is black, and he's also gonna be a bluish white blob for most of the movie because souls don't have a racial identity. I'm sorry, but at this point, I think we've been making some very, very creative excuses for ourselves. Okay, so now that we've got all of that out of the way, I think it's now time to address the Bill Burr in the room.
I saw a bunch of people enjoying something, and as a comedian, that's just the layup. So I was forever making fun of people, 30-year-old people going down to a movie theater, dressing like Chewbacca and all that shit. So I liked the second one, but the other ones, by the time I fucking saw them, I was like 14, 15. I was too busy, obsessing over the fact that I knew I wasn't gonna get laid for a long time.
So Bill Burr is in The Mandalorian. It's weird. It's like the equivalent to when Ed Sheeran was in season 6 of Game of Thrones for maybe 5 minutes. And that was jarring and weird, right? People talked about Ed Sheeran in Game of Thrones for a hot minute. And both Bill Burr and Ed Sheeran have these sort of faces where it's their image and their character and everything they stand for just carried in the face. I cannot take either of their presences or their performances seriously because it just feels fucking off. That's the guy who sings these lovely songs for teenage girls and has that face. And Bill Burr is that stand-up comedian. Very edgy, very cool. Now he's in Star Wars, even cooler. How cool of the folks at The Mandalorian to just bring Bill Burr on.
John was there. He said, hey man, I'm taking over doing the Mandalorian thing. I'm taking over this aspect of Star Wars. There's a part in there that we're writing for you. Do you want to do it? And I was like, dude, I gotta be honest with you, man. I've been trashing Star Wars for a long fucking time. And then he goes, I know. I listened to your podcast. I think that would be funny. I think your fans would get a kick out of it if you went in there.
And I'm not saying that these people aren't allowed to expand into other forms of media. Bill Burr is allowed to be in movies. He doesn't just have to be a stand-up comedian. But it is weird. Also, a common praise and defense of Bill Burr in The Mandalorian seems to be, oh, Bill Burr, he's so cool in The Mandalorian. He just plays this super edgy, cool guy, mouthy character with a Boston accent. That is just Bill Burr. He's playing himself in the show, which people have also caught onto, and people also defend. How cool is it that Bill Burr just gets to be Bill Burr in The Mandalorian? How does that equate to a good performance? Somebody playing themselves. Like, if you want to talk about why his performance is good, you can't just say, cause it's Bill Burr and I like him as a comedian. I also don't like Bill Burr, and I think it's only fair if I admit that. And I am doing my best to critique his performance in the show, and only that, in the most isolated and unbiased way possible. I'm only taking into account his performance in the 2 episodes he stars in and nothing else. And these 2 episodes are both equally as hilarious and bad. They're bad. I don't know if I'm supposed to critique Burr's performance or the direction of these episodes. I wish that Ed Sheeran and Bill Burr could have just been in that Game of Thrones episode together, So we could have just called it a fucking day with the shenanigans. But I guess not. Bill Burr plays a character called Miggs Mayfeld, and I'm gonna forget that that's his name, and I'm just gonna call him Bill Burr. So if you're wondering who the fuck Bill is, you know who Bill is. I don't remember what fucking happens in chapter 6, so I've gotta rewatch it. Oh my god. How long is this?
I hate nostalgia.
Oh, the music's awful. Was the director not present? Did Dave do this? Baby Yoda. Is it the worst?
Oh my god. Oh my god.
He was like. Can you choke a droid? Because he's choking a droid right now. Some things are just so specifically bad that I cannot even begin to do them justice by speaking on them. Here are my thoughts on chapter 15, The Believer. This is gonna be more of a rant than an actual review, but here we go! So this man is in jail apparently, and because prison reform doesn't exist in a galaxy far, far away, either, Bill is doing fucking work release in a metal dump, and Cara Dune comes to pick him up because he owes her one. So now he's gonna work with Cara and Mando and the gang to get into an Imperial base to access Baby Yoda and Moff Gideon's location. So Bill and Mando steal these dudes' armor to sneak into the base, and Bill Burr tests out some new stand-up material on atheism.
Your rules start to change when you get desperate. You said you couldn't take your helmet off. Is it that you can't take off your Mando helmet or you can't show your face?
And he spends the episode trying to peer pressure Mando to take off his helmet, which is weird, and I don't have time to get into the connotations of everyone in this show trying to get Mando to take off his helmet or prove to them why he always wears a helmet. Like trying to get him to not follow a dress code that he's abiding by because of his own personal beliefs and value system. They get into the base wearing disguises cause remember when they did that in A New Hope? They did that in The Last Jedi. Do you remember when they did that in The Last Jedi? So then they're attacked by pirates who try to steal the space fuel, and they get them. They get them. You thought that was a threat? Stakes? What stakes? The stakes? They're down here. So because the Empire are the ones who save them from the pirates, Bill Burr deals with what everyone is calling a great ethical dilemma. Like, just look at this turmoil on his face. They get in. But then Bill Burr takes one step into what seems to be the cafeteria of the base, and he's not wearing his disguise helmet, and he spots this man who is supposedly what I'm gonna call like his old boss. And then they make eye contact. This is important. This is very important to note that the old boss and Bill Burr make eye contact. And he's all nervous. I used to work for that guy. I can't go in there. My old boss, he's gonna recognize me. We made eye contact earlier, but he didn't seem to recognize me earlier, but I can't go in there. So I'm at this point in the episode screaming at Bill Burr to put his goddamn helmet back on long enough for him to sneak into the cafeteria past his old boss, and then he can take off the helmet, scan his face at the arcade machine real quick, and then he can get out of there. But he doesn't do that. He makes the Mandalorian go to the arcade machine because the Mandalorian wouldn't be recognized by the old bot, right? And the other thing is that Mando has his helmet on. Like, obviously for Mandalorian reasons, but he's got his helmet. So where is Bill Burr's helmet? So Mando sneaks by the boss. He takes off his helmet. Pedro Pascal was called to set this day, and he scans his face. We're nearing the finale episode, and remember last season, right before the finale, Pedro Pascal's face got some screen time, so we have to do that again, because the fans want Pedro Pascal, damn it! Another thing that people seem to praise a lot about Bill Burr's performance is this very specific scene that happens after Mando scans his face. They get the USB with Baby Yoda's location. You know, the plan is going as planned, kind of. Bill is in the cafeteria while his boss, who cannot stop reminding us how evil he is speaking to Bill and Mando. And he's saying some pretty horrendous stuff about a mission that almost got Bill killed and ended up killing thousands of troopers and innocent lives. Basically, Bill is silent in these moments. And so many people are like, Bill Burr, that Bill Burr really proved himself as an actor, hey? What a performance that was. That scene, the tension, what a good performance. And I'm like, yeah, sometimes when you're an actor and you don't have any lines, you don't talk. Sometimes the scene is silent. You have nothing to do other than, you know, have your face on screen. Just because the camera is close doesn't mean that he's a good actor. Bill ends up acting out and shooting his old evil boss in the chest anyways, and he wreaks havoc on their secret plan to get into the base, and they escape because there are no stakes, and the whole base just, it blows up. Bill Burr, what an awesome job on the mission today. You are free now. No more prison for you. And he just pieces out, walks off into the jungle of this planet that he is not from. Where is Bill Burr going? He walked out of frame, and I'm just supposed to be like, he's gone. I cannot get over the praise that this show receives. I can't get over the praise that Bill Burr receives. I don't know why the show is good. Why do people say the show is good? Like maybe I don't know what's good anymore, and it baffles me that it's good. Bill Burr saved Star Wars. Jon Favreau saved Star Wars because it's not Kathleen Kennedy's fault. It's like did she not hire Jon? And if she didn't hire Jon, then like who hired Jon? Why is the show good? I feel very similarly to when my friend, you know, said like she liked the show. Do I like the show? And I said like, no. Maybe it's not for me is what I'm saying. I don't know, I don't know what's good. It's not for me, but it's still that doesn't make it good. Hey, sorry. I forgot my wallet, but I still got it. Do you want some? There was only one. There was only one blue one. It's really good. I don't know what you're talking about, like saying that this wasn't the best one. What are you doing? I was just filming a thing. What's good? No. What? I don't know what's good. Sorry. Well, my day was crazy, and you know, you wanted the blue one, right? And I was running all over the place, and like car wouldn't start because it's been, you know, I don't know cars, so I was like running, and everyone keeps talking about the blue one, and it's like blue raspberry, right? But I can't really put my tongue on it now that I'm like tasting it, because it's not blue raspberry, it's just like blue, right? You know, do you ever think about that? How it's you can't put your tongue on it, right? It's so weird. weird. But yeah, like, I mean, it's okay though. Like, I know you've been working hard on your project, your video film. You're such a superstar. That's crazy how super duper